Good morning. A shout out to my anatomy kids who were here. I think I saw them over there. All right, so several weeks ago, Miss Marsh approached me and asked me if I'd speak at Writers Week this year since it was the 25th anniversary of Writers Week, to which I promptly replied, no thanks. However, not being one to take no for an answer, Miss Marsh kept persisting, nevertheless. And so, here I am. I actually graduated in the class of 1994, so my senior year was the first year ever of Writers Week. Two of the teachers who were responsible for starting Writers Week, Mr. Anderson, not the one who's here now, and Mr. Romano, were actually two of my English teachers here at Fremd. They were without question two of the more influential teachers I had during my 4 years walking these halls as a student. They encouraged me to write about what I knew and to read things that interested me. So I kind of feel like I have to apologize to them for the amount of papers they read about baseball and fishing. As I was trying to figure out what to write about for Writers Week, because I'll be honest, I don't do a whole lot of writing on my own anymore, I asked my son Jack what he thought I should write about or talk about. He said to maybe just give some advice, which I found ironic, coming from my own son, who doesn't usually want my advice at this stage of his life. But I decided to go with it since he actually seemed to want to hear it, and I do think he's in the audience right now. Understanding the advice I'm going to give, though, requires knowing a little bit about my background. So, as a kid and even as a young adult, I was always a box checker, always checking off one accomplishment to move on to the next. In elementary school, I got good grades, check. Made it in the gifted program, check. Didn't get into trouble, check. In high school, I remember walking onto the bus my first day of school, my freshman year, and thinking, all right, now this really counts. I thought to myself, how well I do now is going to determine how successful I'm going to be in the future. So I had two goals for freshman year: get A's in my classes and make the freshman baseball team. I was in all honors classes freshman year. I got straight A's except for a B+ in accelerated geometry. Darn math teachers. First semester of freshman year, so check. I made the freshman baseball team, even though about 80 kids tried out that year. Another check. Sophomore year, same goals, same results. All A's except for a B+ in accelerated algebra 2. And I made the sophomore baseball team. Check. Junior year, same goals, same results, except I got straight A's and made the varsity baseball team. Another check. Senior year, I added a couple of goals. I wanted to get accepted into a good college and earn an academic scholarship. I got straight A's. Check. Made the varsity baseball team. Started at first base. Check. Got accepted into Illinois Wesleyan University in Bloomington. Check. And earned a National Merit Scholarship. Check. College went much the same for me. I had a goal of earning good grades, graduating in 4 years, and getting a good job. Check, check, check. I was hired to teach a full-time position in the fall of 1998 when I was 22 years old. It involved spending my mornings teaching biology and chemistry here at Fremd, and my afternoons teaching physical science at Palatine High School. And you may not know it, but that was a really good teaching job for someone coming right out of college. Having gotten good grades and been a good student in high school also helped me get that job, as my AP biology teacher, Miss Matson, and a teacher many of you may know, Mr. Palmer, helped bring me to the attention of Mr. Grimm, the science department chairman who hired me. So checking boxes had helped me get pretty far pretty quickly in my life. So once my professional boxes had been checked, I had a couple of personal boxes to check off. The first was to meet a nice girl, fall in love, and get married. I happened to get really lucky and meet a girl during my first year of teaching. She was a biology and chemistry teacher at Palatine High School. We started dating on October 23rd in 1998. That's Mole Day for anybody in chemistry. And we were married in June of 2000. Check. We bought our first house in 2001. Check. She gave birth to our first child, Jack, on February 26, 2003, the day before I would turn 27. We were on our way to checking that 2.5 kids and 1 dog box for our family. 6 weeks later, though, the box checking stopped. My wife had been experiencing severe back pain and side pain and night sweats that had all been attributed to her pregnancy by her OBGYN. When we took her to see her primary care physician, he had her admitted to the hospital, and she was diagnosed with metastatic pancreatic cancer. That means the cancer had spread from her pancreas, and the place it had spread to was her liver. So 4 weeks later, she passed away. And all of a sudden, I was a 27-year-old single father, and the first time I'd ever held or fed a baby was when Jack was born 10 weeks earlier. So all that box checking I'd been doing didn't seem so important anymore. The experiences I passed up to make sure I checked all those boxes, the experiences my wife had passed up to check all those boxes, they didn't seem so important anymore either. What was important, though, was my family and this school. My parents and my wife's parents helped me take care of Jack. Some of my students would come babysit so I could get out of the house every once in a while. The teachers at Fremd donated money to help pay for funeral expenses and start a college fund for Jack. Mr. Zimmelzak, Mr. Schroeder, and Mr. Adcock got me out of the house and onto the golf course to get my mind off of everything for a little while. Mr. Weaver and Mr. Higgins would watch Jack for me sometimes so I could kind of put myself back together. And you know what? I learned something from going through all of that. I learned that checking boxes isn't as important as I thought it was. I learned that the people in my life matter a whole lot more than the boxes I checked along the way. Without the people who were there for me when I needed them, I don't know where I would be today. I also learned that truly experiencing life, not just checking a box to reach the next milestone, is what's important. I learned that if an opportunity comes along to do something you've always wanted to do, grab that opportunity. Go see that baseball game. Go see that play. Go to that concert. Go travel to that place you always wanted to go. Go see that Cubs World Series parade. Take a chance and go talk to that girl or boy you've been wanting to talk to. In the immortal words of Ferris Bueller, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Life for me has moved on. I'm happily remarried and have a wonderful, almost 11-year-old son with my wife. And she has encouraged me to go see and do things I wouldn't have done before, and I've embraced most of them with open arms, except for dancing. I really don't like dancing, mostly because I'm terrible at it. But I haven't forgotten the lessons I learned from my experience, and I hope you won't either. Don't just be a box checker with the time you have in this life. Experience it.